Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back, kid.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Friday, August 9th, and I'm here with Aiden Bechamp, who is my Statcast specialist here with NYY Recaps, and we're going to talk about a few things today. How you doing, Aiden?
Doing good.
You think we're going to actually have baseball tonight? It does not look good.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's been raining all week. I actually have a concert to go to tonight, and I'm like, are we even going to get the concert in? So
Let me guess. Taylor Swift?
Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, and Green Day.
Nice. Those were bands that kind of broke out when I was like, I don't know, 15. You know, that's taking me back in the day. But I want to talk about tonight's starting pitcher, if there is indeed a game tonight, and that's Carlos Rodon. Now, he had an awful year last year, and I think it's fair to say that he took a major step backwards, like not only in terms of his stats, but in terms of his metrics last year. He just got roughed up, and I just kind of wanted to know, like, is he back? Like, just from your perspective as somebody who studies this type of stuff, do you think Rodon is back? He started off great. He won like 7 or 8 games in a row. He had about 2 or 3 weeks there where every pitch he threw was going in the upper deck, and now he seems like he's rounding back into form. Just give me your thoughts on his numbers, his metrics, and what do you think of him so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that, he's all the way back because he's not that 2021, 2022 form Rodon. And that's when he was so dominant. He was finishing, in the top in Cy Young voting. And, I'm not sure we're ever really going to get that Rodon again. He was just so dominant. But, considering what happened last year, considering, his age, it's super hard for me to not be happy with where he's at right now, considering, like you said, every pitch he threw last year did end up in the upper deck, it felt like. I mean, he's been really solid all year. I mean, he has had, a few blow-up starts. He had 4 starts with 5 earned runs or more, and he's only had 2 starts with 0 earned runs. But like I said, he's not going to be that dominant guy that goes and gives you 7 shutout innings like Garrett Cole can on a regular basis. I mean, he's not going to be that ace, but he's going to be reliable. But he's been so serviceable this year because he's finally kind of developed a third pitch that he can pair with that fastball and slider. His fastball, of course, isn't as good as it used to be, and that's why it's even more important that he develops another pitch along with that slider. And that pitch has been his changeup. He's needed that changeup to be working, and I always kind of thought that's what he could start using more. And he's got an increased usage with it this year. Last year, he used it 4.3% of the time, and now he's using it 12.1% of the time. So that's a pretty big uptick in usage. It has 3.6 inches of vertical movement above MLB average, and that's also an increase from his changeup last year, which only had 1.6 inches above average.
Let me stop you right there. So one of the things that has impressed me about Matt Blake is how good he is at developing changeups with pitchers. You remember a couple of years ago when Domingo Germán showed up in spring training, he had an awesome changeup. Corey Kluber was throwing his changeup more. And then, Garrett Cole has obviously taken huge steps with his changeup too. So I think this is a direct correlation with Matt Blake as a pitching coach.
Absolutely. And you could even say that Rodon started throwing a cutter in spring training. And that's something I thought he could maybe get into because Matt Blake is also not just the changeup specialist, but he really loves his guys to throw cutters as well.
And
his
he was
cutter
working with Pettit. And Pettit is a guy
right.
who threw a cutter too. So there's some influence there, I think. Yeah.
Right. I mean, his cutter hasn't been super effective this year, and I didn't really expect it to because it's still kind of a new pitch for him. He's going to develop it, and maybe we'll see him use it more next year, and maybe it'll get more effective. But that changeup really has been like a Matt Blake special. Like I said, it's got 3.6 inches of vertical movement above average. He has a 47.3 whiff percentage on it, and 1.63 expected opponent batting average, and the actual batting average against it is 132. So yeah. He's pitching pretty well, and it's not just his changeup too. He does have pretty good stuff. There's a nice stat on Fangraphs created by Eno Saris and Pitching Bot Stuff Plus. It's a pitch model grading system, And it takes into account a pitch's velo, its break, its rotations per minute, its release point and extension. And the MLB average is 100, and Rodon's slider has 144 stuff plus, and his changeup has 128 stuff plus. Those are well above average, and overall in the year he has 123 stuff plus. So he does have good stuff. He, of course, has those command issues and he'll miss his spots. And it's really his fastball that's been getting teed off on this year. So to see his breaking stuff be so effective is really, really good.
How does his fastball rate in stuff plus? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
I don't know, but let me check for you.
I feel like the velocity is there, but it still seems like that's the pitch that gets hammered the most often, right? I mean, that could be, to me, a location problem too, because it doesn't have a lot of movement. And so, like, when he misses with it down the middle, and he's a guy who throws at the top of the zone, too. So, like, if you miss just a little bit low, you're aiming for the top of the zone, right? And you miss just a little bit low. Well, all of a sudden, that's a belt-high fastball, right? And he a lot of times, like a lot of Yankees pitchers do, they throw what's called over the cylinder, right? They try and go up over the plate, but either high or low, you know? If you're throwing the fastball at the top of the zone and then the changeup or the breaking ball at the bottom of the zone, but they're over the plate, everything looks like a strike, and so it's easier to get chases and stuff like that. So how's that fastball looking, stuff plus?
Yeah, so that's exactly what you said. It's really the location for him. His stuff plus on his fastball is 116, so pretty well above average. It's all just location for him. He misses his spots a lot, and more often than not, when he misses, it's kind of just down the middle.
I can't think of a lot of pitchers in my life who have kind of, struggled with location despite being like a veteran pitcher. They struggle and then they get a lot better at hitting their spots. It's kind of like you hit your spots or you don't. So I kind of think this is the Rodon we're going to have, and he's going to have like a natural regression from here. Like, he had the back injury after he left the Giants and before he joined the Yankees, like in that winter. And I feel like that caused a significant regression last year. He was able to, with a great training regimen over the last winter, kind of get back up to where he would have been, if last year was just a normal year. And I think he's just going to continue to kind of, take a little step back every year where he has a couple of bad starts. He has a bunch of good starts. And I think if you can get like a 3.75 ERA out of him this year, like he's got another, 6 or 7 starts at least. I think you take it. I think you sign up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was saying in the offseason, if you can get like a sub 3.8 ERA from this guy, that'd be great, especially in this run environment. I mean, it's really nice. I mean, like the guy had a 6 ERA last year. You really can't ask for him to just go and have
almost
a sub
7
3 ERA again. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with where he's at.
So let's talk a little bit about the team speed, because this is something that I've been very interested in with Statcast. It seems to me like the Yankees have some really fast guys, but they've also got some dog-ass slow guys. Like Giancarlo Stanton's got to be one of the slowest guys in baseball. Gleyber Torres, earlier in the year, he was rating as like an average base runner, but when I watch him run the bases, he's just so slow. John Birdie's a guy who stole a ton of bases. He obviously hasn't been around much. Anthony Volpe, he's got a ton of speed. He doesn't steal a ton of bases, but he's got a ton of speed. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts. What do the metrics say about the fastest and slowest guys in this, on this team?
I mean, you were pretty spot on. John Birdie is the fastest guy on the team, and Anthony Rizzo is the slowest, and then Stanton is right behind him. But
Rizzo is slower than Stanton?
Yeah, but it's really not that much of a difference. It's like so how they measure speed on
Stan doesn't even have legs.
The way they measure speed on Statcast is feet per second. So John Birdie runs 29.2 feet per second. I want to say that's like somewhere in the 80th percentile. And then Jazz Chisholm and Anthony Volpe are right behind him at 28.7 feet per second. But then when you go down to Rizzo, Stanton, and Trevino, Rizzo runs 24.5 feet per second, Stanton's 24.6 feet per second, and then Trevino is a little faster at 24.7 feet per second. So they got some pretty fast guys, but then they got some of the slowest of slow guys with Rizzo and Stanton.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm absolutely astonished that Rizzo is even marginally faster than Stanton. I mean, it must be Stanton's like his stride width or whatever, just because he's taller, longer legs, because he just moves objectively slower. He looks like Frankenstein when he's running, right?
I mean, I also think he doesn't really kick it into high gear a lot. That's probably like his top speed, but then when you watch him like going from second to home, you're like that he's running like 50%.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, one of these days, man, he's just everything is going to snap at the same time, and he's just going to be a big pile of meat with a mustache. All right, let's talk about him as a hitter, though, because he's actually looked pretty good this year, despite the little, expected slump since he's come back from the IL. He always has that because he doesn't do rehab games. That's something we should talk about at some point, is whether or not guys should actually go on rehab games. I know a lot of guys don't like it. They don't want to ride the buses. They don't want to eat the shitty spread that they have down there, but you can always buy a spread for the whole team. Anyway, I think that Giancarlo Stanton has actually impressed me a little bit this year in terms of how good he's looked offensively. Right when he went on the IL, he was crushing the ball. I mean, he was hitting for power. He was up to 18 home runs. So what does Statcast say about him? We know he's a Statcast darling in terms of exit velocity, but what does Statcast say about Giancarlo?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's hard for me to be upset with Stanton this year with, how well he's been producing. And you can say, he got injured this year, but did you guys not really expect that? The Yankees and Brian Cashman expected. They said injuries are a part of his game, but he is a Statcast darling. He's still in the upper 90th percentiles of, you can see there, average exit velocity, expected slug, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage. He has the fastest bat speed in the league by 2.6 miles per hour. That's
insane. That's insane. We just lost you. I think we lost Aiden. He's frozen, but I'll go through the rest of the Statcast. So the barrel percentage in the 98th percentile, hard hit percentage in the 95th percentile. And you look at the spray chart, he hit some of the longest home runs you'll ever see. He went 483 at one point. He's insane when it comes to power. The bat speed, obviously, best in the league. And you look at the walk percentage, it's 34th percentile, strikeout percentage, 7th percentile. You'd like both of those to improve. But at this point in his career, 34 years old, he is most likely not going to improve. So I just got a note from Aiden here that his power went out. So we are going to have to drop Aiden from the call. And we're going to take a couple of voicemails here since Aiden had to drop. Let's go ahead and start with this call.
Yo, Derek, what are the Yankees going to do when Anthony Rizzo comes back from the injured list? It seems like they want to put him back in the lineup, but that means they're having to get rid of Ben Rice and put him back down in AAA or send him on the bench. What are your thoughts?
I've been worried about losing Ben Rice. I feel like he's, he got off to that hot start, and now he's slumping a little bit, but I still like his at-bats better than I liked Anthony Rizzo's at-bats. He's still got better power than Rizzo has. And Rizzo's not much better than a 200 hitter anyway. All right, sounds like we got Aiden coming back here, so we're going to bring him back real quick. All right, let me just go ahead and bring Aiden back on screen. Aiden, I got you in the green room, and here we go. Aiden back with us now.
Sorry, my power just went out. It's storming here in New Jersey.
Well, that's what we get for doing a podcast live during a hurricane. Great planning on our part, but really more my part. But I managed to pick up the slack for a second. We finished talking about Stanton, and we were just taking a voicemail. The question was, with Anthony Rizzo coming back, do you think that they're going to give him the first base job back, or do you think they're going to leave Rice in there? I've been worried about that. I want to see Rice continue to get at bats. I think there's just more upside.
Yeah, I've been honestly wondering the same thing, and it's kind of a scary question. I would think that they're going to try and give Rice as many at bats as possible to, prove that he deserves that job, because we all saw where Anthony Rizzo was at before he got hurt. He's just not the same player anymore. He got that concussion last year, and he's not the same at the plate. He's clearly not seeing the ball well anymore. So I think the Yankees know that Ben Rice is kind of their first baseman of the future. I think that's what they're hoping in Ben Rice. And, while he's playing the way he's playing right now, I mean, the results aren't exactly there, but if you look at his expected numbers, he's massively underperforming them still.
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time before he regresses to the mean. So I would think the Yankees are going to try and prolong Rizzo's IL stint as much as possible, and it seems like they're already kind of doing that.
Yeah, don't be surprised if you hear about a quote unquote setback. He felt a little tightness in his rib cage or whatever, and that's a way of saying, hey, we're looking at the numbers, big guy, and we're gonna go ahead and pay you to finish off the season as a coach, on the bench. Let's take another voicemail here. It's about Boone.
Hey, Derek. This is Milton in Texas. I had this question before the last two disastrous games that Yankees play. 2025 is going to be an option year for Boone. In your professional opinion, not your emotional opinion or the fact that
My emotional
I
opinion.
am big Yankee fans. In your professional opinion, if the Yankees make it to the World Series, let alone win it, does Boone get a reprieve and it's offer a renewed contract, or is this it for Boone? Playoff or no playoff? Thanks for taking my call. Bye.
I think the only way they don't bring him back is if they collapse. I mean, they love Aaron Boone within the organization. They're like obsessed with Aaron Boone. So I don't even think it's going to take a World Series appearance for him to get a new contract. I think an ALCS appearance would probably get it done. I think a division title would probably get it done. I think the only way that he doesn't come back is if the Yankees somehow collapse from here going forward and don't make the playoffs. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think it would take a massive collapse for them to fire Aaron Boone, like a massive collapse where they just don't even make the playoffs. I think as long as they make the playoffs this year, they're going to be bringing Aaron Boone back. And, you can point to Aaron Boone about the Yankees' lack of success all you want. I really think there's only so much a manager can do at the end of the day. It's about the players performing and what players Brian Cashman is giving to Aaron Boone. But when you talk to Yankees players and when you hear them through the media, they love Aaron Boone. They would go to war for the guy. They think he's a great clubhouse guy. He has his finger on the pulse of the clubhouse all the time. I mean, we get on him a lot for giving excuses for players all the time, like when he gives excuses for Glaber. And, while it's annoying to hear that when we want him to be more accountable, I think we should at least be a little grateful that he's there to defend his guys. When you go and you look at a guy like Tony La Russa on the White Sox a couple years ago, he would not defend his guys. And Aaron Boone does that. And I think that's why the Yankees love him so much.
Yeah. Let's take another couple of voicemails. It's from the Rabbi.
Derek, sports rabbi, Josh Alexman calling from the Holy Land. We knew that the starting pitching was going to be a problem. That's why Cashman had to go out and get another starting pitcher, and he just didn't do it. And now we're going to see the results of that. And I hope that we won't see the same thing from our closer, Clay Holmes, because they needed to bring in another closer, and they didn't do it. But those were two things that were clear to the naked eye that we all saw as fans that the Yankees needed to shore up. Another arm out of the bullpen closing, another arm starting, and they didn't do both. Leiter's a nice addition. He's been great, but that is not a closer. They needed one of those guys that was going to throw the heat to close the games, and they needed another starter. They should have taken their chances on Flaherty. They should have done something, and now we're going to pay for it going down the stretch. Love the show. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't bring in a more high-profile relief pitcher, but I think Mark Leiter's done a nice job. I think he could actually, do the job as the closer. We saw what he did against the Blue Jays the other day, and we're looking at Leiter, and I think Rabbi's looking at Leiter in his present form. Coming from what he's been his entire career, not what Matt Blake and the Yankees are going to do with him. Because I think there's still room to improve and change his pitch mix a little bit. But, how you think about the Jack Flaherty situation? When I hear back injuries or back concerns, that kind of raises red flags to me. And apparently it was going to cost Spencer Jones to get him. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I mean, there's not really much the Yankees could have done there. You saw that the Yankees didn't take a chance on him because of, a past injury history. They were worried about that. And I think the Yankees have enough injured pitchers on their hands. Garrett Cole is getting a little bit on the older side. He just dealt with one of the most major injuries of his career. Rodon has had those back issues. I know Stroman has had a little bit of an injury history, I think. So the Yankees are really not in a position where they could take on a guy with injury history like Flaherty. And while, yes, he's a rental, you'd be giving up a lot for him, though. It'd be one of those Frankie Montas situations where, now he's hurt in September and he can't pitch in the playoffs. So it's like, what could they really have done there? I think, Mark Leiter was a good addition to the bullpen. Would I've liked them to get another kind of high leverage guy? Sure, but Ian Hamilton and Nick Birdy are going to be back kind of soon, and I think the bullpen is going to look really, really solid then. And then you could have taken that chance on Flaherty. I don't think it would have been a good idea to be honest. And then outside of Flaherty, what else was on the market? I don't think there's really anything the Yankees could have done to improve the rotation outside of Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, there's a few things that I think they're doing with the bullpen, and like you said, they're kind of slow walking the return of Anthony Rizzo. I think they might be kind of slow walking Nick Birdy, but for a different reason. I think they want him healthy in the playoffs, right? And they've seen that he doesn't last very long. Not only this season with the Yankees, but in his career, he's had a ton of injury issues. But when he's pitching, he's lights out. So if you can get his window to return right at the end of September, give him 2 appearances to where he's feeling healthy and throwing the ball well and confident, and then just unleash him in the playoffs, I think he could be a major factor. And guys haven't seen much of him or seen him in a while, so that could make him more effective. Same goes for Ian Hamilton. I would not be shocked if they kind of slow walk him a little bit because we know how good he can be when he's healthy. The Slambio is fantastic. And he could come up big in the playoffs. But you don't want these guys pitching for 3 weeks in September and then pulling up lame on September 26th or whatever, right? You want them ready to go. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on there. I think that's exactly what the Yankees are doing. While Hamilton and Birdy did have some injuries that take some time to come back and heal from and rehab through, I think the Yankees are always thinking about the playoffs. They know they're going to be in a position to make the playoffs. And when they know they're going to make the playoffs, they start operating to prioritize the playoffs. We saw it with Luis Severino the other year. He was pretty much he felt like he was ready to come back. I think it was at the end of August or in the middle of September in 2022, but the Yankees extended his throwing program so that he would be more in line to pitch in the playoffs. I think that's exactly what they're doing with Birdy and Hamilton.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I'll be back after the game tonight, assuming there is a game tonight. Apparently it's raining bad enough to knock Aiden's power out, but we'll catch you next time on the Statcast Report. Remember to like and subscribe and follow us on all the platforms. We're on TikTok now. Aiden's handling all that stuff, Instagram, all that, and we will see you when we see you. Appreciate it, Aiden.